Okay, welcome guys to the next Blender tutorial, the next installment. So what we're going to do today is a little bit of experimenting with projections. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the default cube. Let's delete the light in the scene as well. You can keep your camera if you want to, it's totally up to you, but we are going to be moving it. So let's go with a plane to begin with. I'm just going to press S for scale. I always forget. So, yeah, okay. So, we have S for scale for this one. And then what we're going to do is, let's go ahead and add at the top right here. We'll go ahead to light, and you want to go for spot. So, I'm just going to press G and bring this up. If you haven't already, go to the render section and change EV out for cycles. And what you're going to discover now is that we have this light. So if we go onto the render, you can see that the light is shining a little bit, but it's not too bright, okay? So what we're going to do, let's go to the world settings, which is this little kind of pink, kind of red icon right here. We're going to go to color, and let's change this to black. We're going to go to click your light, and we'll go to data for the lights. So you can see this is a white light right here, and we're going to go ahead and just turn up the exposure so we have this nice little spotlight as such. So we've got that nice little contrast going on. So what we're going to do, let's go to shading tab, and what you want to do, select your lights right here. You'll notice that nothing comes up right here. This is because we need to make this a node. So let's go to use nodes, just click right here. So this is now our emission. We're going to go to add. Let's go to image texture right here. You're going to want to put the color to the color. So image texture color to the color of this. You'll notice that when we go into the render now that we have this nice little purple going on. Now, I'm not too sure whether this will show my files or not, but what you want to do is choose an image to basically project. And what we're going to do is click open. And you guys can't see my stuff, yeah. So, I'm going to go into my pictures right here, and I'm just going to select a random picture. This is a drawing that I did of Berlin a while ago. So I'm just going to go ahead and select that. So this is a hand-drawn drawing that I did. I can't really do anything about some of this branding, but yeah. So you've got the projection right there. And what we can do, if you guys are willing, let's add a cube in here. And you'll notice the cube, if say I rotate this just slightly, it is now projecting onto the plane that we have in the background, and it's also projecting onto the cube right here. If I go ahead and just rotate it onto the opposite side just as such, you'll see that that is now on top of the cube. So let's go to layout, and you can see with the full render right here that that is on top of there. And it's just basically projecting down. Now, if I wanted a secondary one, let's go ahead and just go to normal view. I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this out right here. So we want to go with Shift D, duplicate this, rotate, and I'm just going to go ahead and just point it in the opposite direction right here. And what I'm going to do, let's go back to shading tab. And you'll notice that we've got this nice white spotlight right here because this is a secondary one that we're going to have on the piece. So you've got your first one here, sorry, and then this is the secondary one around the edge. So if I go ahead and just take off the second light right here, we have the original. This is now the second. So the secondary light right here, I'm going to go ahead. Let's go and just press X right there. So we get rid of the picture. We're going to go new. And I'm going to go ahead and find another picture. Now, I've got to be careful which ones I would like to show, because obviously, you know, some of these are quite private. So, let's see. I mean, I'm trying to really find kind of something. Let's see. We could go thumbnail. Yeah, so this is another Blender project that I did. I have like a nice little thumbnail for it. So you can see that there's this kind of garden going on in the background. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the original spot right here, and you can see that we have a projection from the second one right here. So let's go into layout real quick. And I'm going to show you. So this is our second light, so you can see that we have this nice little garden scene that I made in Blender a while ago. I'm going to go ahead and click on the light real quick. Let's go ahead, you can put the exposure up if you'd like, put the exposure down, totally up to you. And then I'm going to bring in the first spotlight that we had, which is my little drawing of Berlin. Let's see, we can go spot right here, and we can actually turn down the exposure on this one if you wanted to. So now you can have this double projection coming through. It's kind of a really neat thing to do for, say, like an art project or something like that. If you've not got space, because that's how I started with Blender. I wanted to do modeling, kind of like building like dolls' houses and stuff like that, and like making like planes and all that kind of stuff. The only thing is, I didn't have enough room in my house to be able to build scale models. So this is why I got into Blender, because, you know, you can do stuff like this. And you're saving everything to a hard drive rather than keeping stuff in your house. So it's really cool to make props. It's really cool to make backgrounds in here as well if you've got green screen. This is perfect for, say, like if you've just got some sort of arts going on, art gallery, or you're making a cinema or something like that. Perfect. So yeah, that's the tutorial for today. I hope you guys enjoyed, and please subscribe, like, share, follow, whichever platform you're on. 7-minute video. That's not too bad for what we've just done. I will see you in the next one. Bye. Okay guys, welcome to 2026 season 2. We're gonna begin this year with a couple of glass and metal tutorials just to get you guys started after the new year. And what we're gonna be doing today is basically making a kind of scuffed up kind of metal material. So what we're gonna do, let's go ahead and go to Eevee right here, and we're going to switch this out to cycles. This is your render engine. I'm just going to go ahead and just place on the screencasting keys just in case you guys need them. And also what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the default cube, I'm just going to delete this one, and I'm going to delete the lighting. And let's go ahead and add a plane. And then I'm just going to go ahead and scale this up, and then we're going to add a UV sphere. So what you want to do essentially, just scrolling right now, let's go G, bring this up. And we're just going to go ahead and just sit the sphere just on the side right here, right click, and then we're going to shade this one smooth. And what we can do now is go to the shading tab. And once we get to the shading tab, what we're going to do, let's click on our object, and we will go to the materials tab right here. We're going to click new, and we're going to change this principal BSDF out to a glass BSDF. So now we have the glass. I'm just going to put this on a render so you guys can see what's going on. We don't have a light in the scene currently, so let's go back to layout. And what I'm going to do, let's go add, and I'm going to do plane. Press G to bring it up, and then we're going to go S for scale, and just go ahead and scale that across onto the side, and then we're going to go R for rotate, and then we'll just rotate this round ever so slightly, and then I'm just going to go ahead and just scale this in on this side as well. So what this is going to be is our emission. So let's go to the materials tab, let's go new. Change out your principal BSDF to emission, and what you'll see now is we've got this nice little glass ball. So let's go, and I'm just going to go ahead and just press Shift D, just move this across so that we've got 2 of these, and then we can go ahead and just select both of these with the shift. Once my computer responds, come on. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Shift D again. and then just move these across onto this side as well. So we can edit these at any point that we need to, make them smaller, make them bigger, whatever you'd like, basically. So what we're going to do, let's go on to the shading tab right here. We can see that we've got this nice little UV sphere. If we turn down the roughness right here, we've got a nice little glass sphere. And now because of our lighting, we can kind of see that this is round. It gives it this nice little round texture. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, I'm just going to go ahead and just move the glass BSDF and the material output just to the side right here. I'm just going to zoom in just slightly so you guys can see what's going on. So I'm going to go ahead and change a few things on this later on, but first we're going to add the noise texture and then we'll add the colour ramp. So what we're going to do, let's go to add, and we will go noise texture, add the noise texture right here, colour to colour, and you'll notice that you get this nice little pattern going on. So what we're going to do with this one in particular, we are going to go scale, and we should be at 50.6, so 50 and then 600, just about here, so that we've got this nice little scale going on. Detail we're going to keep at 2.0, roughness we should have 0, so 0.0, just take that roughness off right there. Let's see, the next one down we want 15.0. Yep. Okay, so distortion as well is 0.4. So we've got this nice little distortion going on. Okay, so the next thing that we want to do is the IOR on the glass BSDF is 14.6. So let's go with the IOR. So we'll go 14 and 0.6. So that we've got this nice little reflection going on, and we also have the noise texture in the background. So what we can do is noise texture, glass BSDF right here, and we're going to go colour ramp. So let's add a colour ramp in here. Colour spelt the American way. And we're going to place this in the middle. Now we have white and black on this in particular. So what I'm going to do, let's move the black to the middle. We're going to go and switch through the whites onto the opposing side. And then I'm going to press plus. And this grey one is going to come onto this side. This grey one, we'll change this to a nice little blue. It can be any tone that you'd like. For me personally, I've got the blue right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and just slide this across to where I need it to be. So you can go with any tone really on this. And you can make this beautiful kind of pattern in the background. Now, this is something that I wanted to show you because I thought that this would look really cool. Say like if you just had something that was kind of sat in the corner. But to be honest with you, we want to make this... that's my dog banging his bowl, if you guys can hear that. I'm going to go give him some food in a minute. So we're going to take the colour to the roughness. You'll notice now that we have this nice little pattern going on in the background, and we're going to change this to gold. So once we've got the gold right here, we can see that we've got these nice little textures going on. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to increase the lighting slightly. So if we go ahead to the layout side and we just click one of these panels right here, they've all got the same material, all got the same texture. So whatever we do to one of them will affect the rest. So let's go with shading again. Remember that we've got that panel selected. We can go to the materials tab here and just increase the strength to what you need it to be. And now you'll notice that this metal has got these little divots in there, and we've also got these little patterns going on and stuff like that. So this is a great way to kind of do kind of a bashed up material in a way, if you want to call it that. So we can call this material right here if we go to the section just above colour ramp, just about here, if you guys can see that where my mouse is going around. We can call this gold. And what we can do, we can go to add at the top right here, and we can add mesh, and we can go with cube. So if we just go ahead, G, bring it up, and then G across, and just bring it to the side right here. This now has no material, but what we can do is we can go to this drop down right here and we can select gold that we've already made. So this will now give this cube the same texture as the UV sphere right here. So it doesn't look as grand on the cube as it does the UV sphere. So if you need to edit this, let's go real quick into this. So if we just let that render a little bit, say like you wanted this pattern a little bit bigger, but if you basically change the scale on this material, it will change inevitably every single object. So you need to separate those two. So by doing this, we can go to this little tab right here, which is new material. Click this, and it should go to gold 001. Now what you want to do with that is maybe name it gold 2. So this is now a separate texture. So anything that I do to this cube right here will not affect the sphere. So we can go ahead and we can scale this down. And we can have bigger imperfections on the cube than we can have on the sphere. So it's a great way of making sure that your materials are in two separate kind of realms, if that makes any sense. So say if I had two objects that kind of had the same material, but I wanted them different, this is the exact way that I would do it, just in a nutshell. So yeah, I think this would be great. Say, I don't know, if you're building buildings or something like that, architecture, different materials. You could also have this for background objects. Games, game textures are great for this. Yeah, so if you guys liked this tutorial, please like, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Okay, welcome guys, back to Blender. So today we're going to be making some bowls and some plates. Just a little basic tutorial to get people started off who are currently joining us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete the default cube, and I'm going to go to the render settings, which is just up here, which looks like the back of a camera. We're going to go with render engine and switch EV to cycles. And what we're going to go ahead and do is let's go to mesh, and then we're going to go circle. So this is going to be the base of our plate. I'm just going to go ahead and S for scale that one upwards just a little bit. And I'm going to go ahead and just split the atom just right here from the corner. So on this one we're going to do a side view, and then we'll have the main view right here. So we're going to start off with the main dinner plate to begin with. And we'll go to edit mode, so just up here, it should be in your top left. You can go ahead and switch objects mode to edit mode. So what we're going to do, since this is the base of our plate right here, go ahead and just click that off. Let's go F fill. We're going to go with E for extrude. And then all you want to do is just press S for scale, just come up just ever so slightly. We're going to go E for extrude again. Bring this up, make sure that you've got this in the line with the Z axis, so just hold down your center scroll and you'll be able to get that on there. We're going to go S for scale, bring this out just ever so slightly. E for extrude again, just bring it down just slightly to the side so you can see that we've got the side view right here. We're going to go S for scale, bring this out. And what I'm going to do is let's go E for extrude again. Just leave it where it is, and I'm going to go S for scale just to bring this outwards a little bit more. So this is going to be the side of the dish. So essentially what we've got, this one is going to be a posh dish, so it's got more of a base to it than a regular dish. So I'm going to go with G and just bring this up just ever so slightly, just on an angle. So you should have something like this. And we're going to go with E for extrude, bring it up a little bit, S for scale, bring it out. We're going to go E for extrude again, bring this up, S for scale, bring this out just slightly, and then E for extrude, bring this up, and we're going to start to go back into the bowl. So what I'm going to do here is, let's go to toggle X-ray, which is just at the top right here. we're going to go and click that. That will enable us to see on the inside of anything that we're doing. So I'm just going to go S for scale just to pull this outwards a little bit so we've got a nice little bevel. We're going to go E for extrude, bring it up, E for extrude again, S for scale, and all you want to do is just bring this in. So I'm going to go with E for extrude, leave it where it is, and what you'll see on this one is this will be the flat part of the plate at the top. So let's go with S for scale, bring this in, E for extrude again, bring this down, S for scale, bring it in, E for extrude again, S for scale, and all you want to do is just follow the contours of the plates in a nice orderly fashion. So let's go down there, S for scale, bring that down, bring it in, until you're comfortable with the actual design. Now, to be honest with you, it looks like a really good plate, but it's a little bit flat at the bottom. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and select this face at the bottom right here. We've got the faces just at the top, so we have vertex, we have edge, and then we have face mode. So we're going to go ahead and just go E for extrude, leave it where it is, S for scale, bring that in, E for extrude again, leave it where it is, S for scale, bring it in, and we're just going to go with G and just bring this up into the middle. So now you can see that this has got a nice little bevel just around the outside. So when we go back to object mode, we should have something like this for a plate. Now what I'm going to do, let's go right click and we're going to shade that one smooth. So that is our big dinner plate. The next thing that we could do is a small dinner plate, and all we're going to do is just shift D. Small dinner plates are generally in the exact same manner, and we're just going to go S for scale and just make it smaller. That's it. Little cheat for you, but it's a nice little way of doing things. The bowl that we're going to do, let's go ahead and let's go with add, and we can go ahead again with that circle. But what I'm going to do, let's move this big dinner plate out of the way so you guys can see what's going on. So I'm just going to press G just to move this up. Let's move both of these up actually. So, let's go ahead and add, you can do a cylinder if you want to, but I like to do circles. I feel that there's more control with circles, so we're going to go with circle right here. We'll go ahead again, edit mode. You want to make sure you're in the object mode when you're adding things to the scene. So we've got the edit mode right here. We're going to go with F for fill. And we're going to make this in the exact same manner that we've just made the plates. So you can make this bigger, you can make this smaller if you'd like, totally up to you. I'm going to go ahead and just scale this down a little bit. I feel it's too big. So let's go ahead, go E for extrude, bring this up, S for scale, E for extrude, bring this up again. And we're just going to do this in the exact same manner that we've done the plates, except from them being flat. We're going to make this as a bowl. So let's go E for extrude again, S for scale, just bring this outwards, E for extrude, S for scale, E for extrude, S for scale, kind of just make it a little bit rounder at the bottom. Let's go E for extrude again, S for scale, E for extrude, S for scale. I just can bring this up. I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of back up here a little bit. It's getting a bit too big. And we can go E for extrude again, just bring that up. You can go ahead and scale it inwards just to kind of bring it in just a little bit more. And then we're going to finish this with a nice little bevel on the edge, which is S for scale, bring this in. And then we're going to go ahead with that nice little flat E. So we'll go E, leave it where it is, click, and then S for scale, bring it in. We're going to go E for extrude, bring it down. And we're just going to go ahead and follow that contour of the base of the bowl. Now usually if the bowl is porcelain, the porcelain will be very thick in nature. And for the rest of it, I mean, if you had something that was made of plastic, it might be a little bit thinner. It's up to you. Let's go E for extrude, bring this down. S for scale. extrude, bring this down, and what you tend to find is that things are a lot thicker at the bottom. So we can go ahead, bring this down, E for extrude, S for scale, E for extrude, S for scale, E for extrude, and just go ahead and just round that off in the middle right there. So you can see that we have, if I just move this over, we can see that we have the inside right here, and then we have the outside as is. So let's go to object mode, right click shade smooth. So once we have this now, we have a giant bowl. I'm just going to go S for scale and bring this down. So let's go ahead and just move this stuff back to where it needs to be. So it's going to go ahead and just arrange them as such. You can arrange them in any way that you'd like. So we now have a large plate, a small plate, and a very large bowl, which I'm going to scale that down again because I think that it's too large. Okay, so once we have something like this, we're going to need a material, or at least we're going to need some sort of decoration on here. So as long as you've got your render engine on cycles, this should work great for you. So let's go with the materials tab, which looks like a little world at the bottom right here, and all the options just here. We're going to go new, and I'm going to name this as base coat, and I'm going to make this blue. So let's go with a nice little, I think we'll go with a royal blue rather than a baby blue, but maybe just about there will do for the royal blue. So now, when we go on to the shader tab right here, and we've got material preview, this is what we should get. Or if we go on full render, this is what we should get. What I'm going to do, let's go ahead and add a mesh and a plane. S for scale, scale this upwards a little bit, just to give this a little bit more shadow and a little bit more depth. So, you want the plane essentially to sit just at the base. Oops, let's go back again. Come on. Okay, so the plane itself, you want this just to sit underneath the plate, so that it's comfortable as such. So we have the plates right here, we have this nice little blue going on, and what I'm going to do, let's go to the shading tab real quick. We have our little blue right here, and we've called this the base coat. What I'm going to do, let's add, let's go here, let's add a noise texture. So you can go ahead and add that one, color to base color. You'll notice that it turns now this kind of aqua, kind of multicolored thing. Let's go ahead and just scale this up maybe to about 15.8. And I'm going to go ahead and add a color ramp. Color spelled the American way. Let's go there. And let's go plus, and we'll go with that royal blue again. Just about there. Let's go plus again. Let's go with kind of like an aqua kind of blue, just to offset that just a little bit. And then what I'm going to do, let's bring that black over just a little bit as well, just to pull some of that detail. You could go ahead and edit the scale as well if you wanted to. So maybe I'm going to put mine to, let's go 41.6. I like that one. Okay, so once I've got this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this noise texture right here. So we'll go Shift D, click on it, Shift D, noise texture. Now you can put the colour from this new noise texture into your metallic or your roughness, depending on how you would like your design. So this is what it looks like in the metallic, and this is what it looks like in the roughness. I'm going to go ahead and put mine into the metallic because I like the tones on that one. And then we can go ahead and add a bump. You want to go ahead and click the bump in between the noise texture and the principal BSDF, the second noise texture. Show something like this. So once we've got this, let me zoom in right here. You've got the secondary noise texture right here. The colour is going into the normal. You want this to go into the height. So go ahead, click that and just drag it across. Now you'll notice it takes a little while to render it, but it's fine. you can go ahead and just play around with the distance on here. You see how that kind of makes like a bumpy texture. You can add some little textures to your bowls and stuff like that. And you can also mess around with the roughness, make it look smooth, but then kind of underneath you've got this bumpy texture, which looks really nice because it kind of gives it kind of like this nice little coat. If we go to the render mode, this is what it should look like. So let's mess around with this roughness a little bit. So maybe 0.18 is probably a good kind of match with this. Let's go back to layout real quick because I want to try something here. So let's go with the bowl to begin with. We'll go to edit mode. And what I want to do is let's go 7 to heaven real quick. I want to go ahead and select everything around the outside just here. So let's go ahead with shift control and just go ahead and click everything kind of in a ring right here. So it should look something like this just on the outside. You want to be able to, let's take off that x-ray mode real quick. Just scroll across and it'll alter the bar for you. See how that works. So essentially you want to go ahead, let's get that bit there. Just trust the process at the moment. Just go ahead and select them all as a ring, just going around the outside, so you've got this nice little ring right there. We're going to go ahead and press plus. We'll go with new material. This is in the materials tab, and we're just going to go gold trim. So this, we're going to make this a nice little gold, like a nice little orangey gold right there. If you guys want the exact same colours or tones, just type in the hex there at the bottom. Let's go ahead and put the metallic up, put the roughness down. So when we render this, you'll notice that nothing pops up. So all you need to do is click assign. And then we'll go back to object mode. And you'll notice that we have this nice little gold trim around the outside. Now, it's a little bit too metallic for my liking, so I'm just going to pull that metallic down just ever so slightly and pull that roughness across just ever so slightly as well. So now we have this nice little gold rim. We have these nice little gold and, these nice little blue kind of royal bowls going on. So we need to make them a matching set. And all we're going to do is very simple. We're going to click on the small plate to begin with. Go to materials tab, which is the little pink world right there. You should see next to new another little world in the exact same logo, which is white, and we're just going to go ahead and click base coat, and it's as simple as that. It's the exact same material as we have on the plate right here. Now, one thing that you will notice is the pattern doesn't look consistent compared to this one. The reason is because this is a smaller object, the pattern is going to be more compact. This one is going to have a larger pattern. Now, if you want to amend this, go back to the shading tab, and all you need to do is go to the base coat right here that we've typed in, little world symbols right here, and then it has what looks like two little pieces of paper just at the side. This is new material, so we're going to click that. You should get base coat 001. Now you can change this to base coat small plate, just as such. And all you need to do is go to the noise texture right here and just scale it up to what you would like. And also I'm going to pull some of these tones just a little bit. So we've got the exact same tones, but on the colour ramp, because this is a bigger plate, the tones are a little bit more spread out. You can have something like that. So when we go to this bigger plate right here, obviously the texture is going to be a little bit bigger as well. So we can go ahead with drop down menu, and if we go to the original base coat, we've got something like this. And I think I'm going to add another light in here so you guys can see, because it looks a little bit darker, but it's actually not. It's the same tones, it's just the lighting's off. So yeah, it's a bigger pattern right here. I mean, you guys can amend this pattern to what you would like. I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this so we have the base coat, so it should say 001. We're going to amend that to big plate as such, and then we'll scale this up just to make sure that pattern's not been stretched. Okay, so once we've got this, if you want to add the gold trim, let's go back to layout. I'm going to go 7 to heaven real quick. Let's go back onto the excuse me, the third render. Let's go to the small plate to begin with. We'll go to edit mode. We're going to do the exact same thing that we did with the bowl and go around the edge and just select everything here, holding shift and control. Sorry, it's kind of blocked it off, hasn't it? So shift control all the way around. Oops, don't click the amending stuff. Right, there we go. Right, so we got the nice little circle going around. We're going to go with plus on the materials tab. Go into your drop down, you want to go gold trim and click assign. So now we're going to go back to objects mode, click your larger plate, we'll go to edit mode again, shift control, and just go ahead and select that loop all the way around to the back of the plate. Press plus on your materials tab and we'll go to that drop down with gold trim and click assign. So now you should have 3 plates, all with nice little gold trims and nice little patterns and stuff to work with. So these would be great for props and stuff, say like you're making games or something like that. So I'm going to go ahead and make my thumbnail. Actually, you guys can see how I make my thumbnails. So let's go with G. I'm just going to go ahead and place these on top of one another, so maybe yeah, I can kind of see what's going on here, and then I'll go 7 to heaven. Oops, sorry, no, that one. Let's go 7 to heaven on there, so I can see from the up side, and then I can see from the side right here. So let's go with G, bring this to the center, just sit that on top of there, and then I'm going to take this ball right here, press G to bring this across. It's not exactly perfectly in line, but that's okay, and then we're just going to sit that. I think that would be roughly in the correct position, just on top of that one. I'm going to go ahead and just move this to the side actually. Okay, yeah, I kind of like that. That bowl, to be honest with you, if I redid this, I probably would have squished the bowl down a little bit. I feel it's too much. But yeah, that's the tutorial for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please do something with the patterns a little bit more than I have. Yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. See you later. Okay, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So today we're going to be looking at camera panning. So what I've noticed with 5.0 is that they've changed some of the settings in regards to animation, which is just unbelievable to me, because I've been sat here for the last 5 minutes going, why isn't this working? Because, you know, usually with animation you would press I and then insert a keyframe, and then I've tried to manually insert keyframes and just nothing was working, and I was sat there going like, what am I doing wrong? So with the 5.0, and I don't know whether this changed with a prior version or whether it just changed within 5.0, I've not done animation in quite some time, but I'm going to show you how to do it in 5.0, because if you're as confused as I am, welcome to the club. So we have the camera right here, and we're going to go ahead and just work with the default cube and the lighting rig right here. And we also have this thing at the bottom, if you guys weren't aware, which is the timeline. So currently we are on frame 1, and we're going to maybe do this up to probably frame 100, but to be honest with you, you don't really need it that long. Not really, I'm just kind of doing it frame 100 just for reference. So what we're going to do is let's go ahead and make sure that this camera is aligned with what we can see. So we're going to click the camera right here. Let's go with view. Let's go align view, and you want to align camera to view right here, which is Control Alt number pad 0 if you guys are interested in the shortcuts. So now we have the camera aligned to the view right here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and pan this camera, or at least move the camera past the object. So I'm just going to press G and just move this to the side. You know what's going to be really beneficial that I always forget? Always without fail. Here we go, screencast keys. So press G and just move your mouse around, and you should be able to just move that to where you need it to be. Okay, so with this in particular, usually what I would press is I and then insert the keyframe. However, with this new version, it's not. It's now changed to K. So if we press K, hopefully this should pop up and you should be able to see it. There we go. So I'm going to go with location for this just basic tutorial. So press K, click location. You'll notice in the corner right here, right, just move this blue line out the way. We now have this little diamond at the bottom of your screen, which is the bottom left. Just right here where my cursor is. Hopefully you can see my cursor. So this blue line right here represents our timeline. So this will be the beginning of our video, and then it will recur to the end right here. So to move this camera, what we're going to do is let's go ahead and just shift this blue line to maybe 100 right here, because that was my standard that I mentioned before. And I'm going to go ahead and press G again. And I'm going to go ahead and just move this camera so we have the cube on the opposite side. Just right here. And then I'm going to press K. And we're going to go location again. So now, when I move the blue line, hopefully, fingers crossed, we should be moving. Yay. Okay, so that is a basic rig for a camera. I did talk about season 2 that we were going to be doing some rigging and animation. So this is how we're doing it in 5.0. For some reason, and I do very vaguely remember it being I for keyframes. I don't know why they've changed it. So, you know, they do this sometimes with different Blender versions, which is mildly annoying because you get so used to doing something a certain way. And they go ahead and change it. So yeah, I hope that tutorial was useful for anybody who was really frustrated like I was. Yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. Bye. Okay, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So today we are going to be making some lollipops. So to begin with this tutorial, what we're going to do is change our render engine from Eevee to Cycles. I'm going to go ahead and delete the default cube. And we're going to go ahead and add in a, let's go with UV sphere. I'm going to go ahead and press G just to bring this up just a little bit so we can work with it a little better. And what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and we'll just enlarge the center of the sphere a little bit. So we're going to go with 1 for side view. If you don't have the number keys on your keyboard, you can go with viewpoints right here. Just go to view, viewpoint, and you should have right, left, front, back, top, bottom. So once we've got this right here, all we're going to do is let's go ahead and go to edit mode. I'm going to go with the toggle X-ray just right here, and we're going to go ahead with Control R, just make a little loop cut right there, and then Control R again, and we'll go here. So now what we need to do is select the band in the middle right here that we've just created. So let's go with face. We'll go for box selects. Make sure that this box is over all of the little points that are in the middle of the faces. That's going to be crucial for selecting everything. We're going to go with S for scale. And all you want to do is just pull the scale outwards just a little bit. As such. What I'm actually going to do, let's backtrack with this a little bit. So Control Z. I'm going to put another loop cut just in the middle right here. And let's go ahead and select those faces again, just in the middle. So we should have, I believe, these ones right here. Let's go S for scale. I'll just bring this out just slightly like that. So if I turn off the X-ray and just turn back to object mode, we should have something like this. We're going to go with right click shade smooth. We'll go ahead and add a mesh, a cylinder. This will be the lollipop, so we're going to go lollipop stick even. So scale the cylinder up, scale it down, and then scale it up to your needs. Let's go with G, and we're just going to place this in the middle right here. Right click shade smooth. So once we've got something like this, I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of pull this down a little bit thinner, I think. Yeah. So once you've got something like this, what we can do now is we can start to add the materials to these. So make sure that you have switched out from EV to cycles on the render engine at the side. We're going to go to the viewport rendering, viewport shading. So we're going to look at the rendered side of things. Let's go ahead, just turn this, and we're going to place a material onto the lolly itself right here. So let's go with new material, and we'll just go with candy if you want candy. Oh, candy if you want candy. That was weird. Right, so once we've got this, let's you can go and switch out principal BSDF to glass if you wanted to, or you could keep it like this. All we're going to do is turn up the metallic. You want to turn down the roughness, just to give it that nice little kind of crisp, sweet candy look, and then just turn down the alpha slightly. And now what we're going to do is let's go ahead and just give this a tone. So you probably have like a bright red lollipop if you wanted to. Turn down that roughness, turn up the alpha a little bit if you wanted it super shiny, or, you know, most lollies are kind of dull. We're going to go ahead with the lolly stick right here. Going to go with new. And let's go ahead and just pull that roughness upwards just a little bit. And we'll make it slightly grey. As such. So, we've got something like this, which is one lollipop. I'm going to go ahead and just rotate this and just place it up against the plane that I'm going to make at the bottom. So if I just place this here, just get this roughly, if I just do one for the side view, we'll get this roughly, so rotate just on that plane right there. So let's get G, half rotate, and then let's go ahead and add in a plane, S for scale, gives it a little bit more depth. You can go ahead and add new, make this background kind of like a grey blue if you wanted to. As such. So, creating different lollipops as well. If we go 7 to heaven, we've got the lollipop right here. We can go ahead and let's go on to the next render view. We'll go with Shift D. I'm going to go ahead and just move this out. Let's go alpha rotate and we'll go 180. Let's press G, bring that to the side right there. And then what I'm going to do, let's click both of these. Let's go Shift D, click, alpha rotate, and we're going to go 90. And then we can go ahead and click on absolutely everything that we've just made. Let's go with Shift D again, click, and we're going to go rotate for 45. And that should have brought it to the middle, but I think I've just missed one of the things. 1 second, let's try that again. Shift D, rotate, oh gosh, alpha rotate. You want to go 45. 1 second, something's gone awry there. 1 second. Right, let's click all of the candy points, all of the stick points. Shift D, click, alpha rotate, there we go, and that's your 45. I'd missed one of the candy bits. So, we're going to want to put these on to different tones, textures, colours if you wanted to. So, we've got these as is. Let's go for scaling out the background just slightly, and we're going to go ahead and press view, align camera to view. Let's try that again. Align view, align camera to view. There we go. So you're going to get this little box just around the side right here. All you need to do is just press G, and you can move this around. Press G and hold in the center scroll and move the mouse backwards. And then you've got something like this. So when we go into the render viewport, we've got this kind of texture happening. Now I'm just going to go ahead and split the atom because I want to be able to amend the lighting on this. So let's go on to another angle. I'm going to go ahead and delete the original lighting, and I'm going to go ahead and add, and we'll go cube this time. Usually we go plane, but we'll go cube this time. Take the cube, stretch it out, make it a bit smaller, and then stretch it out again. Let's go with new. We'll go principal BSDF emission. Let's go with G, and we'll bring this to the side. So now our light source is just this one little band that we have here. Now if you go to strength, you can strengthen this, and you can move this up a little bit, and then we can see the candies as is. To be honest with you, I like to kind of have multiple of these, so let's go with Shift D. Go up on the axes with Z with the center scroll. Let's press 1 and then 0. So we've got 10 between these two, 10 points. So if we go Shift D, go up the axes, which is the Z, and we press 10 again, we'll have equidistant. Now, if you wanted ones underneath, you wouldn't be pressing 10, you'd be pressing Shift D, go up against the axes again, bring it down slightly, and press -10. Because this is 0, this is 10, this is 20, this one's minus. So this is -10, sorry. So when we need to put another one of these lighting features right here, underneath again, we're going to go Shift D and we'll press -10. As such. So now we have this nice little pattern that's going up across the side of the lollipops right there. We can also notice that these lollipops seem to be a different tone to the other lollipops. Now you remember before when I clicked the wrong ones and I was duplicating everything, clearly 4 lollipops have reduplicated themselves. So let's go ahead and just click those sticks and just press delete. I kind of like showing you guys my errors as well, because I feel that if I show you my errors, you guys will learn from them and hopefully won't repeat what I do. So now we've deleted those extra bits that we don't need. We now have little lollipops. So we need to change the textures of these lollipops as is. So we've got candy currently on this red one. So we're going to name this, let's rename this as red candy. Press enter on there. We're going to go ahead and duplicate this. So you've got new material at the bottom, which is next to the X, in between the X and the shield, next to red candy. We're going to press that. Let's go ahead and make this as blue candy. So this should come up as red candy 001. Going to make this as blue candy. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm back. And my boyfriend just brought me food, so I was like, nom 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 nom. Right, okay, so we're gonna go ahead and edit these now. So we need different colours. That was what we were currently doing. So we've now got blue candy. We're gonna go ahead, because this is a separate material from what we originally had. We see that we've got red candy here, and now we've got blue candy, but we need to change this to blue rather than red. So we're gonna go ahead and change that to blue, and then we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and go to edit mode. That should change to blue. So we can do this one as blue as well. Just go down to the drop down menu right here and just click blue candy. These will all have the same parameters as long as you do not edit the metallic, the roughness, or the alpha. Let's go ahead and click this one, and we're going to go ahead and duplicate the red candy right here, so it's red candy 001. Now we're going to go ahead and name this as yellow candy. So we'll change the colour again to a nice little yellow. We can go ahead with this side as well. We can go to the drop down right here, change this from red candy to yellow candy. If it shows up, come on. That should be yellow candy. Oh yeah, there we go. I think my computer's having funny in this one. It's taking its time. Right, okay, so that should be yellow. For some reason, it's red. And you guys are seeing this, right? Because that's red. Why is, like, it's assigned yellow, but it's red. Right, I think we're having a few glitches this morning. I'm going to actually do one thing for you guys today, and that's uninstall my Blender and reinstall it, because I think that it's having some issues. It's been doing this for the entire tutorial for some reason. So, yeah. Let's change this one right here, just change this up, and we'll go duplicate this one from red candy 001, and we'll go ahead and change this to, let's go green. So green candy. Change that to green, which it has done. I'm going to go ahead and click this one and go for the drop down of green candy. So that should be green. That's working. This one should be yellow candy, but for some reason it's still red. Although it shows up as yellow on the render. That's an interesting concept. Right, okay, so we have all these little candy lollipops and stuff like that. You can do different camera angles and stuff like that. I'm going to go ahead and just edit these just ever so slightly, because I believe that we need some variation on them. So we're going to go to the shading tab. Let's go ahead and go with the lolly sticks that we have right here. I'm going to go ahead and add a noise texture. Let's go colour to base colour. So we've got that nice little texture going on. Kind of make it a little bit elongated. We'll go for roughness just to bring that up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add a colour ramp. Place this in between. If you pull the black towards the white, it will contrast a little bit more, so you can get some of that staining on the stick a little bit more in detail. We're going to go ahead and take this noise texture, Shift D, duplicate, place the colour into the roughness. And then what we're going to do, let's go to add, and we'll go bump. Place that in between, colour to height from the noise texture. Well, you should have something like this. I'm just going to pull, actually I'm going to put the roughness, the bump into the metallic. So we've got something like this. Okay, so we can now amend the distance and the filter. So if it turns white like this, it's just calculating everything. It should come up on the screen within a couple of moments, depending on how many calculations it needs to do. Which is apparently many with mine, since I've just moved that. Okay. I'll just start amending things, see what happens. But you should have something coming through, come on. There we go. Okay, so we've got that now. And when we look on the rendered side of things, we can now see that we've got all these candy lollipops, a little bit of texture on the background there. To be honest with you, I might actually add the camera angle to that. So we can go align camera to view. View. Come on, align camera to view. There we go. Okay, let's go to the layouts real quick, and I'm just going to amend this camera angle. Let's go with G. Bring this back. You want it just off center, just kind of make it pop a little bit. And what I'm going to do, let's go to the camera, let's go depth of field, Let's go to the dropper right here, and we will select... Let's select the blue one just here, just for the moment, see how this looks. Now, if we go to the aperture and go to f-stop and just bring it down a little bit, you'll see that the front one's blur, the back one's blur, and then you've got this one in focus. So you just want a nice little sweet spot between blurred background and blurred foreground, just so that you can see the sweeps as is. So, once we send this to render, all the background should be somewhat blurred, and then the foreground should be somewhat blurred as well. If you want more depth of field, we can go back to shading, click the background, the plane that you've got at the bottom here that's underneath the lollipops. Let's go to add, and I'm going to go ahead with a Veroni texture. Let's put the colour into the metallic. And if you just change the viewport shading, you can see these lines appearing. So if we just scale those up, we now have this nice little texture at the back. So when we go to layout, and hopefully this works. We've now got this nice little texture going on in the background, and you can go ahead and amend your f-stop and just bring it down a little bit if you wanted to, just to make that blur a little bit more prominent. So yeah, you should have something like that. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye. Okay, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So today we are doing in a case of an emergency box kind of thing. So what I'm going to do, let's go ahead and switch the render engine over to cycles over here on the tab on the right, and I'm going to go ahead and add a mesh and a plane. Just scale that up. We're going to work with default cube today, so let's go with G, and I'm going to bring this up, and all I'm going to do is just elongate this one to whatever size box that you would like. Totally up to you. Let's go with edit mode, and I'm going to go with the front face right here. We'll go E for extrude, leave it where it is, S for scale, bring it in, and then just scale upward just to give it that nice little box touch. And then we're going to go E for extrude and bring it back. So you don't want to go too far back where it goes through the back, but you just want this just here. Okay, so what we're going to do from this point on, let's go to object mode, add, and we're going to go ahead and add a plane. So you want to go ahead and rotate this by 90, press G, bring this up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to double duplicate this, because we're going to need this as a front cover, and we're also going to need this as a glass. So let's go with G, bring this forward. We'll measure this up just to where we need to place this. So let's go S for scale, G, bring this down. And you can go ahead and go into the edit mode if you'd like, and select the edge tool, just here. G just to bring this up, and then G just to bring this down on this side by holding center scroll. So this is going to be the glass. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this out. So let's go Shift D, bring this one forward. So now if we go into the X-ray mode, you can see that we have one at the back here and one at the front, if you guys can see that. So let's work with the one at the front right here that we have. Let's press G and just bring this forward. You can see the one at the back right there. That's going to be the glass. And all I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and go to edit mode. I'm going to go ahead and select the face, E for extrude, leave it where it is, S for scale inwards, and then all you're going to do is just make that again a box, scale it inwards just slightly, scale upwards just slightly as well. We're going to go ahead and delete that face. Click again, and this should select the face at the back. We'll go delete faces, press A to select everything, E for extrude, and now you've got the front of the box as such. So what we're going to do, let's go to objects mode. You can go ahead and smooth that off if you'd like. You can go ahead and smooth the back box off as well. This piece that we've made for the glass right here, we're going to go ahead and press G, bring this forward. Just place it right there, just on the front. Now obviously we don't have materials at this point, so what we're going to do is let's go to materials, we'll go new. So this material right here is going to be glass. Let's change out the principal BSDF to glass BSDF and turn down the roughness. And then the background right here, we're going to want a red box, so let's make this as red wood. And we'll go ahead and just give that a nice little red tint, and maybe we'll just kind of buffer off that roughness just a little bit. So the box at the back as well, we're going to need the exact same texture that we have at the front, so just go down to the drop down right here and select the red wood that we've just made. And what we're going to do is we'll take the front of the box that we have right here and the mirror. I'm just going to press G, bring this back. Make sure that you've got both selected with shift. Just bring this back as such. And you can see that it doesn't fully fit, and that's the idea of the design, to be honest with you, because you know, the door is meant to be taken off. So this is what you should have in the end once you've finished that. And what I'm going to do with this box one in particular, let's go to edit mode. I'm going to go ahead and select the face at the bottom right here and the face at the top, because I feel that I like to have a different tone on this one and a different colour. So let's get that one on the middle right there. Oops. Okay, I'm going to take off X-ray so it's easier. And then put it back on. There we go. So now you can see these two faces are selected within inside the box. We're going to go with plus. Let's go new, assign, and then we'll have this as a deeper red, just to pull some of those details from the box. So just click assign once you've got the tone that you'd like. And now we can see that the box looks a little bit more square on the inside. So now we need the text on the outside as well. So let's go with just regular render for the moment. Let's go to add. You want to go objects mode before add, so add. And then let's go to text. Text should appear right here. So all we need to do, if we go 7 to heaven, let's go to edit mode. Just going to go ahead and take that off, and we can go, you want to go capitals with this, so in case, let's just zoom back out, off, and then I'm going to press enter, and then we'll go emergency. Okay, so if we go to the data on the fonts and stuff like that, we can also put this into the center so that it's nice and central right there. We're going to go object. Let's get this onto the glass right here, so we're going to press G, bring this up. You're going to want to rotate this by 90 and then rotate again by 90 as such. We're going to press G, bring this forward. I'm going to go ahead and take the X-ray off just for a second. Let's go S for scale, G to bring this up, and then just kind of place it on the glass. So you might need to scale this down just ever so slightly and then bring it forward. So let's go G. So you just want to get it nice and neat in front. S to scale. I'm just going to place mine there. Should have something like this in case of emergency, and then we're just going to put break glass at the bottom here. Or you could put break glass at the top if you wanted to, but I mean it's totally up to you, it's your design. So let's bring this down, Shift D, duplicate this. We'll go to edit mode. Let's get rid of this. And then we just want to write break glass. Let's go back to objects mode. And that's it, really. That's the project. Just going to move this floor upwards just a little bit. And then I'm just going to add another light in here as well. Just kind of offset this. I think that'll do. Yeah. So if you guys like this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, welcome guys to the next installment of Blender. So today we are going to be making a decanter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete the default cube, and we'll go ahead and change the render engine from Eevee to Cycles, and we're going to go ahead and add a circle. So what I'm going to do to begin with is we'll go into the edit section, and then we'll press F for fill. Sorry, just 1 second. There we go. Okay, so we've got our circle selected. We're going to go up here to objects mode and switch that out for edit mode, and we're going to go F for fill. And what we're going to do is I'm going to bevel in the bottom afterwards, but first of all we'll make the decanter itself. So we're going to go E for extrude, bring this up, and then S to scale, just bring this out slightly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for side view right here, 1 for side view if you need it, and I'm just going to show you how I'm making the base of this. So you're going to want quite a large base for the bottom, and we're going to go for E for extrude, bring it up, make sure that you are using the scroll wheel to stay on the Z axis, and we'll go ahead and just scale this outwards as such. And all you want to do is just make a slight bulb at the bottom. And then we're going to go S for scale and start to bring it in. Now, at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make that a little bit bigger. I'm just going to go S for scale and bring this up, and then S for scale and bring it in. So we've got something like this. Make sure that this is all even, so you're not going to the side and stuff like that. Because sometimes when I started out with Blender, I go like this. We don't want this. We want to be able to stay central like that. So once we've got this part right here, let's go E for extrude again, and we're going to go S for scale, bring this in. It's going to be quite a narrow kind of bulb, so let's go E for extrude, I'll bring this up, S for scale, and you just want to go ahead and just very gently just curve that back around. Kind of reminds me of a flask actually, but we're going to go from about here, nice little kind of neck there, and then we'll go E for extrude, bring this up just ever so slightly, so you just ever so slightly up just there. We'll go S for scale, this is going to be a little bit of a bevel so that we've got a lip to the glass. We're going to go E for extrude again, S for scale outwards, E for extrude, E for extrude again, and now we're going to start to go inwards. So at this point we're currently at the top of the glass, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go E for extrude, leave it where it is, click, and then S for scale, bring it in. And what you're going to notice when we go back down is if I press E for extrude, for example, we've gone back down but we can't see the inside of the decanter. So if I just go backtrack that, would just backtrack that for 1 second. Let's scroll across the top here, and we've got something that's called toggle X-ray. So we're going to click toggle X-ray there, and if I press E for extrude, you can now see that I can see the inside. So what we're going to do, let's go E for extrude, just pull that down just slightly, S for scale to give it that nice little bevel, and because this is glass, what we want to do is we want to be a little bit thicker on the top, a little bit thinner in the middle, and then we want to kind of bulge out just at the bottom. So I'm going to go ahead and have maybe that much away from the edge. Let's go for E for extrude, we'll bring this down. I'm going to go S for scale just to bring it in just a little bit more. And then I'm going to go E for extrude again and just bring it all the way down to the base of the neck right here. So if you've gone midway like I have, just press G and you'll be able to move it back down again. So we're going to go E for extrude, bring this down, S for scale outwards just a little bit. So you've got that variation in the glass. Let's just leave this right here so you guys can see what's going on the inside from the top. Okay, so once we've got this right here, let's go E for extrude, bring this down again. S for scale, E for extrude, S for scale, and then as I said at the prior part, we're going to make this a little bit thicker at the bottom. So let's go E for extrude, bring this down, S for scale, E for extrude again, S for scale, and you just want to go ahead and just round that off just in the middle, just there. So just like that. Don't worry about the bottom if you're a little bit too close, we can amend that. So now we have this. So now I kind of wanted to make the bottom part quite fancy and I wanted to indent it as well. So we're going to go to the base right here. Just select his face if you've got your faces selected, because at the top right here you have vertex, you've got edge, and then you've got face. Make sure face is selected. So what we're going to do, let's go E for extrude. I'm just going to bring this down. And then we'll go E for extrude again, S for scale, and then E for extrude, S for scale, and then E for extrude again, and then we'll go S for scale, just to bring that back in a little bit. And then E for extrude again, bring down, S for scale. Now at this point you want to go inwards, so we're going to go E for extrude, leave it where it is, click, S for scale, give it that nice little base, and we're going to go E for extrude, bring this up, S for scale, bring this in, E for extrude, S for scale, bring this in. And what you want to make sure that you do, let's just bring this across. So you have the base on the inside of the glass right here. You don't want your under base, so to speak, this one that we've just indented, to connect to this one. So if in doubt, bring it back a little bit. Just like that, because you want that nice little thick glass look. So once you've got something like this, let's go ahead. I'm going to go back to object mode real quick. Just pull this to the side, and then I'm going to pull this to the side. So you guys can see the side view right there. And then we've got this view right here. So I'm going to go shade smooth. Right click shade smooth. Let's go with G. Bring this above the lines that you've got right here. And we're going to go ahead and put with mesh and plane. S for scale, bring this out. And so we're going to click the little cylinder that we've just made right here. We're going to go with material, add, and we're going to go with principal BSDF, switch it out for glass BSDF, and turn down the roughness. Now when you go to your render, you should have a nice little glass piece right here. Now you can frost this if you want to by moving up the roughness, or you can make this completely clear as is. So the next thing that you can do is to make a stopper in the top, and I mean they're really simple to make. Let's go ahead and just take this off the render mode for the moment, and all I'm going to do, let's go to add, we'll go cylinder, S for scale, bring this down. Essentially what you want to do is make it sit and fit. So let's go S for scale, bring this down a little bit. Let's get rid of that transform so you guys can see. I'm going to go right click shade smooth, S for scale, make sure that it fits on the inside of the bottle right there. I'm going to go object mode, edit, and what we can do, let's hit the top right here, let's go G, bring this down. And essentially what we want to do is make a nice little pattern on the top right here. So I'm going to go E for extrude, S for scale, E for extrude, S for scale, E for extrude. I'm going to go S for scale, E for extrude. Just make a little point here. just for fancy reasons. Something like that. And then we'll go E for extrude again and then pull this to a point just to about here, because what we're going to do now is let's go back to object mode. Right click shade smooth if you haven't already, and I'm going to go ahead and add a you can go with an icosphere or you can go with a UV sphere for this. It's totally up to you what kind of look you want. Let's go with G. Bring this up to the top. Now obviously this is way too big for the bottle, it's going to topple over, so let's go S for scale, and I'm going to go with G. Bring this down. You want to make sure it sits and fits just there, just at the top. Now you can go ahead and you can shade this smooth so you can have this nice little smooth look to it, or you can keep it the way that it is to make it look a little bit more fancy. Totally up to you. So if we go back to the render at the moment, we can see that we've got the stopper in the top right here, we've got the glass at the bottom. Now this glass is a material, so if we name this, if we click the glass even and we name this and we say glass, obvious name, and then we click the sphere that we have at the top right here. If we go down to the drop down in the materials tab, you have material and you have glass. Now the material that we have is material, which is the white one that we have here. We want to change it to glass, so we're going to click glass, and this will be the exact same material that we have at the bottom right here. So we're going to want to do this with the bottom of the stopper as well, so that this is nice and uniform. So we're going to go materials and then change this to glass from the drop down. So now we have this nice little decanter, depending on whether you want a whiskey or a wine decanter, something like that. It looks quite scientific. To be honest with you, it does look like, I think they call them conical flasks. It just reminds me of that. If you want to put liquid in this, you can go ahead and select the inside. Alternatively, let's go to side view again. Just going to turn that off. Right, okay, so let's go to add mesh, and we want to go ahead and add in, let's see, circle would do this best. So we can see that we have this line right here, which is the side view of our circle. It doesn't currently have a 3D view because we've not made it 3D yet. So let's go ahead and press G. We'll bring this up to the base of our container. Let's go with S. We'll scale this down. Press G to bring this up. And what I'm going to do, let's go to edit mode. Press F for fill. E for extrude. Bring this up, use the axes. S for scale. And all you're going to do is just fill in that space as best you can. Just make sure you're not interacting with the glass, you're just on the outside of it, or in this case on the inside. E for extrude, let's bring that up again. S for scale. And then we'll go E for extrude, and then, you know, whiskey glasses and decanters and stuff like that, they're generally not full all the way to the top. They do have an air. So we can have something like this. Let's go back to object mode. Right click shade smooth. So now, when we have this little render going on, we have a little bit of liquid inside of it. What we want to do, let's go new. We'll change out the principal BSDF. You could go with anything really. You can go with glass, you can go with glossy, metallic. Metallic would work, but it's a bit iffy. I mean, if you went, oh, not that one. Let's go with metallic real quick, just to show you. So if we went with metallic, you can turn the roughness down, and you can have that nice little shine on there. And then to make this a little bit more kind of whiskey, kind of like, I guess you could just mess around with the settings. But to be honest with you, if you're with glass, let's see what glass looks like. That would be glass. And then you can mess around with the IOR as well to kind of make that liquid look. But if you go with principal BSDF, you can have that little bit of metallic. I feel that you just have a lot more control. So you can go with metallic, turn down the roughness, and then you can mess with the alpha, which will basically make the liquid a little bit more clearer so you can see in the background as well. Let's go with base colour real quick. Kind of change it to that nice little kind of golden whiskey kind of look, I guess. Yeah, something like that, I guess. I'm not a huge whiskey fan, but I guess that's what you could have in there. Or you could have red for wine if you wanted to, if it's a wine decanter. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go with like that, I guess. If you've got something different on your project, go for it. So yeah, I think that would work for the piece. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just amend the background right here, just make that kind of like a grey, maybe metallic. Just turn down that roughness. That's something you can do as well. I quite like doing this. And then what I'm going to do with this background right here, let's go to Shading tab. Click the background. And I'm going to go ahead and add... you can do Veroni for this, or you can do noise texture. Totally up to you what you want to do. Let's go with noise texture. Colour to roughness. And you'll notice that you get all these little points on here. It's just an idea to make some texture in the background if you're doing anything like photography wise with this piece. So you get something like that with nice little sheen. And you can go ahead and just change the tones on this. What I would suggest lighting wise, let's go with this one for a moment. Let's go add. I'm going to add plane. Let's go G, bring this up. And R for rotate, and S for scale outwards. So you've got this nice little piece right here. And what I'm going to do, let's go new, change principal BSDF to emission. And this will be a light source. So I'm going to get rid of the original light source here. So let's go with delete. I'm going to take this, let's go S for scale, just to bring this in a little bit. If it'll let me. Come on. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to press G, bring this across, and when you see this, you should now have this nice little light source at the side. It kind of gives it a little bit more of a 3D look. I'm going to go with S for scale, just bring this across, and then S for scale, just bring this down a little bit. So it's almost like strip lighting. Let's go ahead really quickly and just go Shift D. Duplicate that down, Shift D, duplicate that up. Just multiple kind of things. It doesn't have to be perfect. So when we've got the cylinder right here and we go to the render tab, we now can see that we have some lighting in the background. We can now increase the strength. And I think that it works really well in pulling out some of those details as well. So what we can also do is take the background, which is the world settings, change it from grey to black. And what we could do from here is let's go add, let's go view, line view, camera to view. This little box right here is your camera, so if you press G, we can bring this back. Come on. So let's press G. Just scroll back. Just move the mouse back. And then you could just get this into frame. Hold down center scroll and move that back, sorry. I'm just going to go ahead and just move this lighting back so it's not in the way. Okay, let's press G and bring that back. Okay, so once we've got something like this, we can also click the camera, go to the data settings, which is the camera at the bottom, click depth of field, and then we've got the eyedropper just at the side under focus on object. Click the glass. And all you're going to do is just turn the aperture down. So, sorry, the f-stop in the aperture down. And this will blur the background and will keep everything in focus just here. So, if I just enlarge this just slightly, you guys can see what's going on. So, it's all fuzzy at the moment. What generally tends to happen is it will figure out what's going on the picture, and then it will do the lighting last. So if the lighting isn't showing up properly, just leave it a few minutes and it should come back. It depends on the machine that you're currently using, because if you've got, say, like I wouldn't say a high-end machine, but if you've got a machine that's like really good at doing calculations, it'll probably calculate everything a lot faster than, say, like a machine that's not used to doing stuff like this. So I think it depends on your processors as well. I'm going to go ahead and just up that f-stop just a little bit because it's out of focus. If you guys want to see what the focus is like, you can go on to the third render here, which is viewport shading. So that will show you in real time what everything's going to look like. So I think that's too blurred for me. So I'm going to go ahead and just amend that as that. So that's the tutorial for today. If you guys liked, please subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye. Okay, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So today we're going to be making a little bit of a lighting wall. I'm going to go ahead and delete the default cube, and let's go ahead and switch out EV to cycles. Let's add a plane in here. So we're going to go with R, and we will rotate this by 90. S for scale. We'll go with G, bring this up. And all we're going to do is let's go with a cylinder. Let's go with G, bring this across. S for scale. And we'll bring this down. S for scale again. We'll bring this up to the top right here with G. We're going to right click and shade smooth. Next we're going to add an icosphere. We can go ahead, press G. You can press 7 and this will give you a top view so you can get this directly over the top. So let's go with G and bring this just there from the bottom. We'll go with G again and bring this up. So at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to make a glass interface on the top here with the icosphere. So switch out your principal BSDF to glass BSDF and turn down the roughness. We'll then take the stick here and we'll make this just black. So you should have something like this. Then what we're going to do is take this icosphere right here and we're going to go ahead and Shift D to duplicate it. S for scale to bring it inwards, and then we're going to go ahead and press G and bring it back down again. So this one is in the middle. Now this one we don't want glass BSDF to this, so get rid of that. Let's go with new. We'll switch out from principal BSDF to emission, and we're just going to turn the emission up. So now we should have something that looks like this. A little light inside of a little crystal ball. So the next thing I'm going to do is just change this to an orange. And I'm going to go ahead and change this down. So nice little orange light on the inside. So once we've done all of this, let's go back to regular render. We'll take this light right here that we've just made. Let's go with G. R for rotate. 90 degrees. Let's go G. Bring this back to the wall. S for scale. And we're going to go with G. Bring it to the wall. And once we've done that, what we're going to do, let's go Shift D. We'll press, let's go with 5. Actually, no, let's go with 2. Yes, let's go with 2. Shift D again. Let's go with 2. Shift D. 2. Shift D. And you can go 2 again. Let's see, if you wanted to go from the bottom, you're going to have to go -2. So we'll select everything there. So Shift D, we'll go -2. Shift D, -2. Go ahead and get rid of the lamp in your scene. So let's go delete with that one. I'm going to go ahead and select everything on the side right here. Shift D. And I'm going to go sideways here. Now we're going to go G and we're going to go upwards by 1. So now we're in the middle with this lighting right here. So once we've got this, we can then duplicate this. So Shift D, go across, and I think we were at 2. Should be at 2 at least, or just bring it out to where you want it to be. Just as such. So I'm going to go ahead and just scale this background upwards a little bit. Let's go ahead and grab these again. Shift D, place them where you need to, or as far apart as you need to. Let's go G, bring that across. And what we're left with is a nice panel of fancy lighting that you can use on a background, which is pretty cool. Just allow the light to kind of come through a little bit and then kind of do a render. Let's go with view, align view, camera to view. And we can go ahead and just press G and bring that in. Just ever so slightly so we can get that nice little view of the lights. Have something like that. And that would essentially be your piece for this particular one. The lighting will come in afterwards. Yeah, so if you like this tutorial, please like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Okay, welcome to the next installment of Blender. I hope you guys are doing well. So today we are going to be making a little wall decoration. So what I'm going to do to begin with is we're going to go ahead to the render engine and switch out our EV to cycles. And I'm going to go ahead and delete the default cube right here. So let's begin by placing on these screencast keys so you guys can see what I'm doing. That would be really helpful right now. And we're going to go with add, and we'll go plane, S for scale. And we're going to go ahead and take this plane right here, and we're going to go Shift D to duplicate it. Leave it where it is and just click. R for rotate, and you want to go against the axes here, which will be the Y axis. Just hold down that center scroll right there, and you should be able to go to any of the sides right here. So we're just going to press 9, 0. If you don't have the number pad, you can go ahead and press 9, 0 at the top of your keyboard. Let's press enter just to facilitate that one. We're going to go with G, bring this up. So now we've got a nice floor and a nice wall to work with. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the default light as well so we can see what we're doing. So we're going to go with add. You can go ahead and add another plane, or you could duplicate this one. To be honest with you, we could probably duplicate this one. So let's go with Shift D. I'm just going to go ahead and bring this forward, and I'm just going to press S to scale this down. Now this is going to be the base for our little piece right here. So let's go with object mode real quick and switch that to edit mode. We're going to go ahead, right click, subdivide a bunch of times. And we'll go ahead with modifier, add a modifier, and you want wireframe with this. So when we go back to our object mode, you'll see that we have this nice little mesh going on. You can go ahead and increase the thickness of this mesh. You can go ahead and mess around with the offset if you'd like to. Totally up to you what you'd like to do with this project. You can also have boundaries as well. I would recommend a boundary on this particular object, because if you don't have the boundary after wireframe, if I just quickly show you, so if I just uncheck that boundary real quick, it kind of does this. It's the best way to explain it, is just to show you. You see what I mean? So click that boundary. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add text. So let's go to add. We'll go to text, and it will appear down here at the bottom. So to edit the text, let's go with edit mode, and maybe we'll do hello and world just at the bottom there. So you can't really see it because it's currently interacting with this background. So if you need to go onto wireframe, let's go to object mode real quick. And then all we need to do is go to data at the side right here, which is the big A. And we can go with geometry if you wanted to. You can extrude this just ever so slightly so that it's 3D. So if I just come down to the side there, you can see if I mess around with the extrude, it's doing this. So make it as thick as you'd like. Okay, so once we've got this, we're going to go ahead and we'll go to paragraph, alignment, and then we have this currently set to default left. We're going to want this as center. So now everything is down the center. We're going to go and move this to the mesh. So let me go back onto the regular render right here, and I'm going to go with G to bring this up. You want to go with alpha rotate on the z-axis and go 90. And then alpha rotate again. We're going on the y-axis this time, so let's go 90. G to bring it back. And all you want to do is make sure that this sits and fits just in front of the mesh right here. So, for those of you who are wondering, how do I change the text type? I'm just going to go ahead and just scale this up with an S. So, with changing the text type on here, it won't pop up on my side. You won't be able to see it because for some reason my screen recorder doesn't do pop-ups. But you can go to fonts right here under the data section. Click the little folder and you should get a little pop-up displaying different fonts. So if I went with this one, for example, we've got something like that. Now we want to illuminate this. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and make this an emission. So we'll go over to the materials tab. I'm going to go ahead and just change on the viewport shading rendered. So there's no light coming from here. We're going to go to the materials tab. Let's go with new. Switch out your principal BSDF to an emission. And now you can see that we have this light coming through. So what we need to do now is you can go ahead and reduce the strength. You can increase the strength right there. That will decide how much light is going to be on your scene. To change the colour, you have your beautiful colour wheel right here. You could have something like that. Now, if you wanted individual letters and stuff like that, you would have to make this two separate objects or multiple objects. So to do that, let's go ahead and take this hello world right here. We'll go Shift D to duplicate. So now we've got two of these. Let's go ahead to edit mode. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the hello on one of them. Let's go back to object mode. So now we have two worlds. To change the colour on this one, let's go and take that material off. Let's go new material. Let's go to emission, switch that principal BSD out. Sorry, principal BSDF out. And we can change that to pink. Now to get rid of the world on this one, we're going to go ahead with edit mode and just go ahead and delete world. So now we go back to object mode. We now have the exact same text type, stuff like that. The strength of the emission has changed just a little bit. So if we go into the rendered mode, you can see that these kind of shine at different brightnesses. So the strength for the kind of green aqua blue one right here is 2.6. For the pink one, we just have 1.0. So we could go ahead and change this to 2.6. And it will be the exact same brightness on the strength. So yeah, the background with this little kind of mesh thing as well, we could go new material. And we could go ahead and just make that black or something just to kind of border it off a little bit. This would be great for kind of like a bar scene or something like that. Great for a shop window. Totally up to you what you want to use it for. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. Enjoy the rest of your day, and leave us a like and a subscribe. Bye. Okay, welcome to the next Blender tutorial. So today we're going to be exploring a little bit of lighting with some gemstones and stuff like that, with some chains. So what I'm going to do to begin with, let's go ahead and delete this default cube, and I'm just going to go ahead and add, let's go with plane. I'm going to go ahead and scale this out for you guys in just a second. So let's go S for scale. And I'm going to go ahead and just duplicate this. So Shift D, bring this up, R for rotate, and we can go 90 just at the side right here. I'm just going to go ahead and just make this a little backdrop for our piece. And then I'm going to select them both with Shift and S to scale just sideways. And also maybe I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger. So let's go with G just to move it in the middle, and then S to scale. Okay, so once we've got these two together, what I'm going to do, let's start building a little pendant in the middle right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just split the atom real quick, so you guys can see what's going on with the pendant on this side, and then I'll make it on this side. So let's go ahead and just, first and foremost, let's go to render, switch out the render engine from Eevee to cycles. And we're going to go ahead and add in a icosphere. So let's go G, bring this up. I'm going to go with 1, which is side view right here. And all I'm going to do with this is, let's turn on toggle X-ray, which is at the top. And I'm going to go to edit mode. And essentially what we want to do is select the top faces right here. Press S to scale. We want to make a nice little point coming up to the top. Let's press G, bring this up. So we've got this nice little teardrop going on. We can also go ahead, if you wanted to, and subdivide all of this. So, I mean, you can select just the faces here and then click subdivide. And you should be able to subdivide it as such. If that's not what you're wanting, we can unsubdivide that by pressing Ctrl Z. And it will go back to normal. So essentially what we want a nice little point coming up at the top right here. So I'm just going to select this one right here. Let's press G, bring this up, so that we can loop a little loop inside right here. So what we're going to do, let's go to object mode real quick. I'm going to go ahead and add, let's go with Taurus. G, bring it up. S for scale, just to bring it down a little bit. We're going to go ahead and just right click shade smooth and rotate on the y-axis by 90 so that it's sideways. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this, make it just a little bit smaller, so we've got something just like this. And I'm going to go ahead and add the materials actually. So let's go to the materials tab. We'll go with new material. Let's make this a metallic. So switch out your principal BSDF for metallic BSDF. We'll change base colour to kind of like a nice orangey yellow. If you guys want the exact same tone, you've got the hex right here. Just type this in. It should work beautifully for you. So let's take down the roughness as well. Let's go on to render, see what we can see. So we're going to want like a nice little gold loop right there. For the pendant, we're going to want glass. So let's go ahead, let's go new. And this material, let's name this glass. You can name the other material for the loop as bronze or something, or gold, kind of metallic. Totally up to you. So let's take the droplet that we've got right here. Let's change this principal BSDF to glass BSDF. And you can just turn down the roughness there. And you should have something like this. So, once we've got this right here, what we can now start to do is make a little chain going upwards. So I'm just going to take it off render real quick. And this is the point where you can see sideways as to how this is going to work. So let's take the initial loop right here. We're going to go Shift D, bring this up. And what I'm going to do, let's go R for rotate. and you want to rotate up against the Z axis, we're going to go 90, just as such, and we're going to make these loops just a little bit smaller. Now these might be a little bit thicker, but if we make them slightly smaller, they should be pretty cool. So let's go with G, just bring that down, make sure that these two are looping together and they're not interacting in the middle too much. So you've got that nice little buffer zone. We're going to go ahead and take this one, we'll go Shift D, bring this up. You're going to want to make sure that, again, these two don't touch, or at least if they do touch, they're a little bit just apart. We're going to go alpha rotate, again, with the Z axis, and we'll go for 90, which is 90 degrees. So now we have this nice little loop. So all we need to do now is take this loop that we made initially and this loop that we made with ladder. Let's go ahead with holding down Shift and click both. And we're going to go Shift D and bring these up. So now you can see on this loop right here, we have this circle and we have this circle. That is where this shape comes round just here. So you're going to want to put this just underneath here. So let's go G. So that's like the inside of the shape. It's kind of coming up and round and then it comes back down again on the other side. So let's take all of these, hold down Shift. We're going to go Shift D and then we'll take this up again. And again, we're going to want to go under that circle, just underneath, right there. And essentially we just want to carry this on as far as you need to with your project. So now we should have a nice little pendant. I'm just going to go ahead and amend the background real quick. Just bring that down to there. So now we should have something like this. Now, I don't quite like the lighting that's coming through at the moment. I think I'm going to go ahead and just place some different lights in here. You could also amend some of the tones that are coming through in here as well. I mean, like, this will probably be more experimental than anything. So if we go to the shading tab real quick, when we click onto our glass right here, this will be totally experimental. If you want to do this, it's totally up to you. We can go color ramp. Let's see. Sorry, I've spelled that the English way, haven't I? There we go, color ramp. Spelled the American way if you guys are wondering. So we're going to go color to color. So now we have kind of this dark kind of shade that going on. We're going to get rid of the black right here. So let's go minus on the black. We now have white that goes all the way through. Let's go plus, and we're going to plus white a couple of times. Let's go another couple pluses. Try and get them just equidistant from each other. And all you want to do, let's go for some more right here. So maybe just half that, half that. Maybe have some off center. It seems like I'm not really doing much right now, but trust me, just trust the process. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go white, and then you want a tone, white, tone, white, tone, white, tone. Essentially, that's the theory. So, what we could do from here is, let's go with a nice little pink, something like that. The idea is to give it somewhat of, I don't know what you call it, like ambiance, I guess. Like tint or something like that, you know. Let's go with this one and go with blue. So you've kind of got that nice little kind of shading going on. You see how that's turned pink now? So you can go ahead and just offset that just slightly into a blue or something. Or a nice turquoise green. Up to you. It's your design. Instead of just having one solid colour, you're kind of just pulling little aspects into it. So, yeah, we have the white there. You could go ahead and delete whites if you wanted to. It's totally up to you. You see how I move this and it changes tone? You could like kind of pull that blue a little bit, that pink, if you wanted to. So just play around with it, see what you can do with it. I quite like that actually. You can also mess around with the IOR if you wanted to. Kind of make those folds a little bit deeper, make them less. That's something you wanted to do. I'm going to put this back to the original. There we go. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to put some lighting on it because I have a specific set of lighting kind of things that I do. So what I really don't like about Blender is these lights. I think that they're naff. I'm going to be honest with you. Some people like them, some people don't. For me personally, I like to make my own lighting rigs. I'm just difficult like that, you know. I'm just going to go ahead and just add some extra chain to this. Let's go with that one right there. You could also do something really funky with this as well. Instead of having round links, you could take all of these and you could press, let's select every single one apart from the one that's in the actual jewel right there. So we've got every single one apart from that one. You can press S for scale and you can kind of elongate them just slightly so they're not perfectly round. They kind of have this nice little long kind of look, like a bit of an offset. So the lighting rigs that I use, you go with a plane and you make it an emission. So we change that from principal BSDF to emission. Let's go with G, bring this up. I'm just going to go ahead and press S for scale, bring this across, and then you just want to angle it just ever so slightly, like that, almost like blinds. You can go ahead and rotate this just to get a different perspective. We can go G, bring this back, and then all you're going to do is just go Shift D, bring this down, Shift D, bring this down, Shift D, bring this down. It's not exactly natural lighting, but if you say like showcasing a piece like this, it kind of looks better, especially for a studio environment. So we've got that. Let's turn on the render, see how this looks. You see how you can kind of pick out certain little bits of the jewellery right there. So we're going to go for strength because all of these are the same material that we've just made with these emission panels right here from the planes. We can go ahead and just turn up the strength. So they should all be at the same strength. I'm going to go ahead actually and just amend this background to a grey. So let's go on new material and make this a grey. Kind of like that. And then we can go ahead and add the same material to the base as well. So you've got this. I like that. I think that looks better. So yeah, I guess that's a tutorial for today. If you guys liked, please subscribe. Would really appreciate the support. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.